to set records, just pack your shit and go home. Who is this guy, I asked myself, and how in the world does he think I'm here to set records? I don't even know why I'm here. All I know is that I'm sitting in front of 300 pounds of ice, a couple rubber duckies, in a deserted castle somewhere in a Dutch forest. This workshop is about quieting your brain so you can listen to your gut intuition. And when it screams at you, you listen. And that is when it hit me. That's why I'm here. It was roughly 6 years ago, almost to the day, that I bought the engagement ring to purchase the engagement ring to propose to my would-be fiance. At this point, we had dated for about 3 years through graduating college and a long-distance relationship living across the country. Months before, she moved to Iowa from Princeton, New Jersey, quitting her dream job with Colgate so we could be closer and committing further to our relationship. And oddly enough, it was in the decision to purchase this engagement ring that I realized the gravity of my decisions. I loved her, or at least the idea of her, but I was petrified with being honest with my demons and therefore consistently self-medicated my lack of authenticity. At this point, I had believed to myself that it was more socially acceptable, or at least less shameful, to get a divorce than it was to call off a wedding, so I figured someday it would just fall apart, and that would be what it was. Until one day, she had enough. And as I came in from work, she sat on the couch, breathed a sigh, likely of relief, and spoke. "Scott, I don't think we should get married." To be honest, I was relieved. And as she brought it up, I simply said thank you, and that I agreed with her. It was all along that screaming inner voice that something was wrong that I chose not to listen to, until something else decided for me. And following her move out, it was that painfully loud, haunting silence of an empty house filled with memories that sparked my search for stillness. Somewhere along that journey, I found a guy named Wim Hof. And for those of you who don't know who Wim Hof is, he's what he would call a normal guy. He's a fun, music-loving yogi that's perfected a simple breathing technique that's allowed him to climb Mount Everest in a pair of gym shorts, run a marathon through the Namib Desert with no water, and a handful of other death-defying world records that kind of boggle the mind. And it was upon his wife killing herself that he decided, or found rather, that extreme exposure to cold silenced and calmed the relentless roommate in his head. Now back to this ice. All 300 pounds of it were emptied into a waist-high kiddie pool that averaged a bone-chilling 4 degrees Celsius. The goal? To sit submerged up to your neck and find peace and stillness among the chaos that was invited in. And now this cold, and sitting in it, feels like your body is exploding into a million pieces, like your skin is literally lit on fire, or someone took a television and kicked it into a bathtub. That television being your brain, as it short circuits from what's happening, your sympathetic nervous response is so strong that it literally short circuits your prefrontal cortex in order to ensure bodily preservation. And as I sat in that ice, I was forced to confront these self-sabotaging stories and behaviors that I had that would normally make me cower in fear, or worse, run. And over a number of these baths, I found a weird, peaceful clearing, a vast nothingness where my thoughts ceased to exist, that I could sit in silence and just be and exist here in the present moment. And it was in that silence that I found the ability to cultivate gratitude for all the pain that I had experienced and what it was doing for me, not to me. Now that workshop was roughly 2 years ago, and ever since then has illuminated a number of habits in which the ways I talk to myself, as well as the ways that sometimes I choose to believe that monkey living upstairs. About 6 months ago to the day, my boss and friend of 15 years walked me into his office and politely asked me to leave the company that I helped start due to a number of philosophical differences. And as it started, I found myself wanting to fight, if not for ego's sake, for the money that I thought I needed. And as the conversation unfolded, I found those habits and those stories replaying themselves, and I was able to sit there and calmly say thank you. Thank you.
I am pretty sure that getting into a pool of ice is far more terrifying than standing on stage and telling a story. Let's give Scott another round of applause.